There's a fly flying around. But hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Lily's Life Corner. Today we will be talking about the new rise in conservatism, this new trend in conservatism. And I'm kind of speaking quietly because I'm outside and I live in a highly conservative, not only suburb, but state. So probably not my best idea to be filming this outside, but it's alright. I will get through it. But anyway, let's get started. So recently there's been a trend in the rise of, how would I word that? There's recently been a trend where conservatism is rising. I'm sure there's better ways to word that, but I'm also sure you guys understand what I'm saying. But it's not only concerning, but it really feels like deja vu. Because I grew up in the 2000s, early 2000s. And some of the stuff that I'm seeing, I'm like, man, I think I've seen this film before and I didn't like the ending, in the words of Taylor Swift. But anyway, this topic came to me because of the new Lilo and Stitch movie, the live action movie, and specifically the casting choices for Nani. And by the way, speaking of the new movie, I really hope that none of you guys saw the new movie. I think you guys should stick to the original because a lot of Native Hawaiians, I've never seen it, but a lot of Native Hawaiians are saying that it is an egregious piece of propaganda that hurts Native Hawaiians and their community. So please do not interact with that propaganda movie. There's also nothing wrong with animated movies. I think they're much more appropriate for children and they have better lighting, so just saying. But anyway, let's first talk about some of the signs that we're going down this conservative time in society. So the first one is that Y2K skinny is back in fashion. It is trendy to be skin and bones. I know you guys can't hear the birds and the chirping and stuff, but it is kind of very distracting for me. But let me continue. If you guys were around when Y2K skinny was in style, you would know just how restrictive it is and just how many celebrities such as Britney Spears were being called fat despite the fact that they were never fat. Eating disorders among normal people were also at an all-time high because of journalists, press, paparazzi, who would publish articles in magazines talking about how Britney Spears is the fattest that she's ever been. She really needs to lose some weight. Whole time she's not fat. All of this is coming back into style, except more normal people are being affected by this than before. Before, it was really just celebrities being attacked, and then it would kind of trickle down into society, and then society would attack each other sometimes. But it wasn't to the level of this degree. Nowadays, young girls are getting on TikTok and they're posting their own bodies. They're posting like a full body selfie and they're asking people, guys, am I fat? They're not fat. By the way, they're not. But all of the comments, there are 0 comments saying, girl, you're not fat. What are you talking about? All of the comments will say, yeah, I think you could lose some weight. I think you could afford to lose some weight. I think, something that helped me lose weight was not eating as much sugar or walking 10,000 steps a day. Whole time, this poor girl is probably 120, 130 pounds at most. You get what I'm saying? That's not fat. I don't know what these people are talking about, but people will be like, yeah, you kind of are. Excuse me? So that's one thing. That's one sign that I'm noticing. The second sign is that trad wives are trending. Now, if you don't know what trad wives are, it stands for traditional wives, and these are basically women who stay at home and cook. They are stay-at-home moms, okay? And I said in another video, but cottagecore was originally a more left-leaning kind of fashion trend. And I know it sounds weird to put a political label on a fashion trend, but cottagecore was about giving people power back, empowering people to learn how to garden and to learn how to make food from scratch so that they didn't have to rely on store-bought things so much, especially should a situation like what is happening right now happen where the FDA is understaffed, USDA is also understaffed, and so food cannot be tested, and the bird flu is going around and people aren't, like farmers aren't taking the precautions necessary to prevent bird flu from going around because of lack of money, lack of resources, that kind of thing. In case that started happening, people knew how to feed themselves without relying on going to the store. Nowadays, it's been thrown into a right-wing conservative pipeline where people are now hijacking it and saying raw milk is healthier for you. So, yeah. It's also been taken over by said trad wives who make young women aspire to be nothing more than a homemaker. And listen, there's nothing wrong with being a homemaker. I myself am a cooking and baking enthusiast, and homemaking skills are very important skills to have as an adult. As a full-fledged adult, you should know how to make a home, right? Regardless of your gender. But these women are not advocating for both men and women to learn how to be a homemaker. The issue really with this like trad wife situation comes in when none of these women that are being influenced to be a stay-at-home mom have any money or resources of their own. They're just relying on their husband's resources. And again, I'm using heteronormative language because this is typically heteronormative couples that are affected. Like I said before, cottagecore was kind of a lesbian thing. It was like a sapphic woman thing. Oh my god, it's my name. But it was a sapphic woman thing where mostly lesbians, mostly sapphic women would interact with this trend and would forage for mushrooms and stuff like that. But now it's been overtaken by heterosexual women who have husbands, and thus heterosexual women who also have husbands are being influenced into participating into the trend. That's why I'm using heteronormative language. So these women are being influenced to stay at home, not work, not have any money or resources of their own, not go to school, nothing of the sort. And so should they need to run away, should they need to divorce their husbands, should they need to live on their own, like maybe their husband either cheated on them or their husband died, God forbid, and should now these women start living on their own, they have nothing to fall back on. They have no money, they have no resources, they have no skills besides homemaking skills. And again, like I said, homemaking skills are very important to have, but unfortunately in the society that we live in, that's not really the only skill that you should have, because you really can't make money off of homemaking unless you're like a professional baker. But that takes time and money, and if you also have kids because you were influenced to have kids by these trad wife influencers, you're probably gonna be hard pressed to find time. You get what I'm saying? I hope that made sense. I don't know if that made sense. But anyway, that leads me to the next thing, the third sign that we're heading down this path, which is pink jobs and blue jobs. They're exactly what you think they are. They're exactly what they sound like. So people, mostly women, are now posting about how women should only do pink jobs and men should only do blue jobs. Take a guess what a pink job is versus what a blue job is. Yeah, a pink job would be packing a suitcase for vacation. A blue job would be carrying the suitcases down the airport. A pink job would be sitting in the passenger seat. A blue job would be driving the car. A pink job would be sitting in the car while someone did the blue job task of filling up the gas tank or removing snow off the car. That would fall under a blue job category. And as you can notice, these jobs are not really jobs, they're more tasks, like everyday tasks that everyone should know how to do regardless of gender, but here we are. So again, like a pink job would be sitting in the car while the blue job person gets out of the car, pays for the gas, fills up the gas tank, waits until the gas tank is either full or the money runs out, and then getting back inside and driving away. Paying for food is a blue job. Eating food is a pink job. Doing housework is also a pink job. Paying bills is a blue job. It's basically a trend that devalues women and advocates for a useless woman. At least useless outside the home. Okay? You shouldn't be useless outside the home. If you're an able-bodied adult who's had a full life, like, for example, unless you were neglected as a child and you never learned how to do anything, you shouldn't be the level of useless that a pink job would make you be. outside of the home. Does that make sense?
And you also shouldn't be the level of useless that a blue job would make you be inside the home. So it's like detrimental to both genders that these blue job and pink job trends are kind of advocating for. And again, we're speaking in a heteronormative kind of language because that's the heteronormative audience is being catered to with this trend, okay?
But women keep fantasizing about only having to do pink jobs and dread when they have to do blue jobs. And I kind of understand the sentiment, especially, like I said, we're in a recession, and so people kind of want to be taken care of. So the fantasy becomes, I wish food would magically show up in my fridge or in my home without me having to put any strain on my finances. And the easiest way, or the closest way to achieving that fantasy, becomes someone else buying food for you. But this really poses an issue, especially because a lot of men in this, trend, in this trad wife, working husband trend, tend to be the sole providers, especially if the trad wife is not an influencer. The trad wives who are influencers are obviously bringing money in, and they're not putting stress or strain on their finances because they have brand deals, they have sponsorships, they have brand trips. You get what I'm saying? But normal everyday women who have been influenced into becoming a stay-at-home mom, becoming a trad wife, and who don't post this kind of content, or who are trying to make a living out of this content but who are not finding like the right footing, the right audience, whatever, their husbands are the sole providers. And that really poses an issue when financial stress gets to be too high for the sole provider. In 2008, when we were going through another recession, so many men killed their families and subsequently themselves because their finances were too strained. And also, a ton of other factors. But one of the main kind of correlating factors was the recession.
I just want to quickly interject here and say that one of the other factors in these men killing their families was also their religious beliefs. And I mention this because a lot of the trad wife influencers are part of a religion that loves gender norms, if that makes sense. Like, they're part of religions, they're part of churches that say that the women should stay at home and the men should be the providers. And so a lot of these men saw killing their families as sort of mercy, or as sort of like, I would much rather commit the sin of murder and suicide than commit the sin of letting my families starve and not being a good provider. There's a lot of other things as well, and I'll leave some links in the description to get you guys like read upon some of this stuff. Not get you guys to read some. You know what? I'm very tired and I can't really find the words exactly, so I'm sorry if I'm not really making any sense, but I will leave links in the description and show notes regardless.
It is hard. It is expensive to support your own family, especially in a recession, and especially when you're the sole provider. So the financial stress of that gets to be too much, and some men think that the only way out is death. So again, I have to reiterate, as women, it's really important to have some sort of backing, some sort of financial backing, some sort of skills to fall back on, some sort of way to get out, should you need to get out. Hopefully not. God forbid, okay? But should you need to run away, should you need to escape, you really, really need to have the resources to do that. And a lot of trad wives do not have those resources because they do not have their own money because they're a stay-at-home mom. But anyway, let's move on to the next point is that slurs are coming back. And I'm not just talking like racial slurs, although those are also coming back too. So the interesting part of this is that slurs nowadays are not being told like straight up like it was back in the olden days. Instead, people are kind of doing a workaround, and I think this also has to do with like censorship and stuff like that, which I also have another episode on if you guys want to know more about what I think about censorship and that kind of stuff. But people, instead of saying the slur, they will do a workaround. So instead of retarded, which is a slur for mentally disabled people, of which I am one, I qualify as one because I have autism, so don't come for me. I don't like to say it, but regardless, don't come for me. Instead of saying that word, they will say regarded. Instead of saying the N word, they will say ninja, or they will use the ninja emoji, because it kind of looks like it, kind of looks like it, like if you're looking at the word, kind of looks like, I don't know, or I don't know. I don't participate in these actions. I've also seen a replacement for the F word, which is a slur against gay men, but I don't remember what the replacement is. I just know that I've seen it. And it had, like, I'll be looking at my phone and, like, reading the comment, and I'll be like, what is this person trying to say? But eventually I figure it out, because it kind of sounds like the slur. But people are also, like, instead of saying, is this person autistic, they will say, is this person acoustic? Which I need to remind you that autistic is not a slur. But that leads me to my next point, which is weaponization of therapy speak, specifically to hurt communities. And this is also something that I talked about before. Sorry, there's a fly flying around. But this is something that I also talked about before in my performative activism topic, where there's a ton of people currently defending the absolute worst of influencers, but they're doing it in such a way that brings marginalized people down. So if there is an influencer doing, like, the absolute worst thing, but they're a minority of some kind, they got a mental disability, or they're gay, or they're a woman, or they're a person of color, their fans will come and defend them, and they'll be like, you guys, this is a disabled person, this is a woman, this is, she's been bullied for being fat, we need to have compassion for this person. And it only serves to bring marginalized communities down. It helps stigmatize not only mental illness, but other marginalized communities. And it puts us in a position where instead of having more people be understanding of us, it leads to people making fun of us and making fun of our race, gender, sexuality, disability, whatever it may be, body shape, weight, what have you. It's also people just, like, in general, are not having much empathy for people who say they have a mental illness that has been highly overused. So think like depression, anxiety, that kind of thing, where if you say, like, oh, I can't brush my teeth 2 times a day because I have depression, people will be like, you guys are so exhausting. Like, you're disgusting. Why don't you brush your teeth? That's disgusting. Just brush your teeth. What's wrong with you? Right? And it's because depression has been overused, where so many people are using depression as an excuse for why they do the things that they do. They'll be like, you guys, I'm really sorry that I scammed my followers out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. I just have depression. Please feel sorry for me. Right? And that's kind of what I mean, is that these people are using these labels to defend their actions that are inexcusable. And also, just in a recession where you have to pull your own weight, you have to pull yourself up by the bootstraps, you have to fend for yourself, people are less willing to be empathetic and understanding of something that sounds made up. And again, I reiterate, the only reason it sounds made up is because media and just scummy people have taken it upon themselves to make depression sound not as bad, because depression, I'll tell you, it's brutal. But again, because it's been so overused in media, it's been so overused in shows, now shows are kind of doing that thing, not to get off topic, but you guys remember during the Black Lives Matter protests, how every single show, including like Police Procedural, were coming out and they were saying, I regret arresting this black person. I really think I was being racist. You know that thing that shows were doing? Well, now shows are doing it to mental health, right? Where shows are being like, we just need to be more mental health aware. And so it becomes kind of this like trolling thing where it doesn't sound so serious, because now writers that have no idea what they're talking about are hijacking this word. And because they're hijacking the word, because they don't really understand how depression works, they don't really understand how racism works, now it becomes something to be made fun of. And that's what I mean. I hope you guys understand, like, that. I went on a little tangent, but I hope you guys like followed me. So all of this is reminding me of the early 2000s attitudes, except kind of fear this might be worse this time around. For starters, people are showing their faces when talking about this stuff. And talking is maybe the wrong word because they're not really talking. They're not having a discussion. They're not having a conversation like you and I are having right now. What they're doing is they are co-signing. Oh my god. That scared the shit out of me. You guys, the sprinklers turned on and I got really, really scared. But, oh my god, I forgot what I was saying. So, they're not talking about this conversation. They're not saying, like, you guys being fat phobic is not okay, you guys being racist is not okay. They themselves are being racist. They themselves are being fat phobic. And they're saying, they're co-signing they're signing their name on racism, fat phobia, homophobia, whatever it may be. And they're also putting their face to it. There's a face to recognize. There's a full government name to recognize. And it just like makes me think, like, back in the MySpace and the Tumblr days, you did not know who was spouting this fat phobic, racist bullshit. Okay? You didn't know if it was just an insecure fat person projecting their insecurities on others, right? If they were like screenshotting pictures of celebrities and being like, oh my god, this celebrity is so fat, she's so ugly, I hate her so much. You didn't know if they were doing that because they were a fat person and they were insecure, or if they were a member of a community that should know better, which also poses a unique, I regret filming outside. But this poses a unique situation where you kind of have to look the part if you're gonna be fat phobic now, right? Because you're putting your face to it. So, for example, if I were filming myself being fat phobic, other people would just bully me and be like, well, you're fat too. Right? So I have to look the part. If I'm going to be spouting fat phobic bullshit, I have to look the part. I have to be skinny, because otherwise people are just going to bully me. That's not the case with like when you're spouting racist bullshit though, because a lot of people of color are racist, even to their own communities. And so people, they're less likely to like be like, wait a minute, why are you racist? You're just being racist to your own community, or, well, you're also a person of color, so you shouldn't be right. They're less likely to do that. Still, you know, you'll see those kinds of comments, but they're just less likely to do that. You guys, sitting on the floor is not for the weak. I'm so tired, my butt hurts so much. But regardless, people are using their names and their faces to sign that, to co-sign that, and to be like, yeah, I 100% agree with this. I 100% agree with being racist. I 100% agree with being fatphobic. I 100% agree with being misogynistic. I 100% agree with transphobia, right? I remember when there was a time that people would get fired for saying these things, like when they would post on their personal like Facebook profile or their personal like TikTok profile where they had their face in their name, they would get fired because companies would find out, like, oh my god, my employee posted this, you gotta go. The company does not stand for this. The company does not stand for whatever bigoted bullshit that you're posting. And so you would think, like, more people would be cautious of this and less people would openly post their faces on online while saying all kinds of stuff. But unfortunately, it's not that, and that's why it's worse, in my opinion. If I seem a little scrambled to you guys, it's because I am. I'm filming outside, and my neighbors are also outside. It's kind of embarrassing. So I'm trying to hurry up. But that's what's concerning to me, is that now people are not fearing the consequences. They don't care if they get fired, which is dangerous if you think about it, because we're in a recession. That means, oh, you really, really don't care. You don't care that you're going to face consequences. And it's probably also because a lot of companies got rid of their DEI things, and a lot of companies are also like backing, like openly backing certain, authority figures. So, but yeah, it's very concerning that a lot of people are not fearing consequences to their actions. They've kind of already accepted the consequences to their actions, and they're like, yeah, I don't care if I get fired. I'm gonna say that Mexican people do not deserve to live or whatever, right? It's not what I think, obviously, because I am Mexican myself, but anyway, probably the most confusing part of this rise to conservatism is the Y2K fashion. I don't know if you guys remember, but none of the fashion that was present in Y2K in like the early 2000s screams conservatism. People are out here wearing low-rise jeans, they're wearing crop tops, but fear not, because the tides are turning. So there was recently a trend on TikTok about bikinis. This happened kind of in conjunction with people complaining about the size of bikinis online. So people would get on TikTok and they would be like, look at how small this bikini is. I paid $200 for the top and another $200 for the bottom, and it barely covers anything. I myself saw a couple of TikToks of women being like, I have to hang out with my boyfriend's family, and I tried to buy bikinis, and this is how small they were. And they show like the tiniest bikinis ever. And they share, like, I can't in good conscience wear such a bikini in front of such, like, strangers, basically. These are people that I don't know. This is not my family. They're older, they're obviously more conservative. So the trend that emerged was women either holding up just like a string or holding up nothing, and they'd be like, you guys, I got a new bikini, what do you think? And obviously it's sarcastic, and the comments would sarcastically reply being like, oh my god, girl, you're covering up too much, like, oh my god, you're gonna overheat in the sun, or like, no, that bikini is a good way to not get sunburned. Or some people would be like, guys, please don't make fun of her, like, what if that's just her religion and she just is being so modest because her religion says that she needs to be modest, right? And it's obviously very sarcastic because it's making fun of the way that bikinis are becoming so tiny and so small, and yet they're being so expensive. Like, the amount of fabric used is not an excusable amount of fabric to justify those prices. But then, out of that trend, spurred a conversation mostly led by men and pick-me women who kept saying that women should cover up more in the beaches. And this wasn't like an advocacy thing. This wasn't like a, oh my god, I can't believe companies are making such small bikinis like the original trend was. This is just men trying to control the way that women dress, really. This is basically just men who hate women saying that normal bikinis are too revealing. And so now things like vintage swimsuits, things that you would see like in the 1940s catalog, are coming back into trend. Those are like the one-piece swimsuits that cover everything. And again, I want to reiterate, there's nothing wrong with the wanting to cover up. There's nothing wrong with wanting to not wear a normal bikini to the beach. I myself don't wear any swimsuit of any kind because I just wear, oh my god, the water's shut, finally. Uh-oh, my stuff does not get wet because more, okay, whatever. I don't mean to say that, like, covering up is a bad thing, because I myself don't wear swimsuits of any kind. I instead wear a t-shirt and shorts to the pool or the beach because I feel very uncomfortable in swimsuits. And even like one-piece swimsuits that cover everything, I feel uncomfortable in them. And there's also nothing wrong with wanting to wear more normal bikinis or wanting to be more quote-unquote revealing, even though it's not really revealing. But there's nothing wrong with wanting to be more revealing at the beach, because you're at the beach, okay? You're at the pools. It's probably hot as hell. There's nothing wrong with wanting to feel more of a breeze, you know? But considering a lot of these women that are now shifting their focus to more conservative, modest swimsuits are also the kinds of women who would get on their phones and film themselves asking, guys, what are we wearing this summer? It kind of lets me know that these women are not choosing to cover up based off of their own comfort level. They're instead covering up because of what the internet told them. Like, it's their comfort level surrounding what people think of them, not their comfort level surrounding what they actually feel comfortable wearing. But anyway, I want to circle back, not to sound like a businessman writing in an email, but I want to circle back to this pink job and blue job nonsense, and I want to show you these TikToks that I saved.
A blue job is a boy's job and a pink job is a girl's job, so here's some of our different jobs as new homeowners. Taking out the trash, blue job. Buying trash bags that are pink and smell like flowers, pink job. Doing the laundry, pink job. Carrying the laundry up the steps, blue job. Knowing what this is, blue job. Knowing what this is, also a blue job. Cooking dinner, usually a pink job, sometimes it's a blue job. Dishes, usually a blue job, sometimes a pink job. Picking out cute signs and deciding where to hang them is a pink job, but hanging them is a blue job. Making the bed is a pink job, but the blue's job is laying in bed for too long and making it difficult to make the bed. Pink job, decorating the living room. Blue job, decorating the basement. Blue job, going into the attic. Blue job, apparently dictating the temperature of the house. A pink job was baking cookies for the neighbors.
So the first TikTok, in case you're only listening, when she says knowing what this is, she points to first a red fixture in the basement, and then she points to another blue, smaller fixture also in the basement. The red fixture looks like some kind of furnace or some kind of old-fashioned water heater. It's red, it's kind of round, and it's got 4 pipes going up into what I imagine is the rest of the house. And they look like water pipes, to me, personally. The blue fixture looks like the HVAC thing that goes inside of your house, but it's very old-fashioned looking, and it's also been painted blue. Either way, these are things that you should know as a homeowner. It doesn't matter what your gender is. You should know this because you're living inside that house, okay? But, like, this woman says, like, I don't know what this is. None of my business. What's gonna happen if your husband goes on a work trip and the HVAC system stops functioning? Are you even gonna know who to call? Are you even gonna know, like, oh my god, this is the HVAC system, I need to call up HVAC specialists? Or are you just gonna sit there, like, in the cold or in the extreme heat or whatever and wait until your husband comes back home? Because, sorry babe, that's a blue job. It's not my job to know what it is, right? Or even just, like, the smaller things that she lists. Like, is she going to just let her garbage overflow and just be like, oh well, my garbage is overflowing, I guess I won't do anything about it because my husband is not home to take out the trash? Or like the laundry, like, oh my god, I guess I can't do the laundry because my husband is not here to take the laundry baskets up the steps. Like, can we be for real? And then another thing that struck me that's odd was the way that, like, the tone of her voice as she says, like, a pink job is making the bed, a blue job is staying in bed too late and preventing the pink job from making the bed, or whatever it is that she says. The tone that she uses to say that is so weird to me. And also when she says, like, a blue job is unfortunately dictating, like, the temperature of the house, like, girl, do you even have control in that home besides buying cutesy pink trash bags? Are you serious? What other control besides buying cute pink trash bags for your trash do you have? But let's move on to the next TikTok, and this one makes me irrationally angry.
In my marriage, my husband and I have pink jobs and blue jobs. I'm gonna tell you about them while I get ready for a concert, which is already kind of a crazy sentence because it's a school night. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like, pink jobs are jobs that, like, or responsibilities like I do, and then blue jobs are responsibilities for the man. A lot of these you'd probably guess, like, taking out the trash is a blue job, whereas, like, making the bed is a pink job. Like, those are easy. We get into trickier territory when we do things like that are a little more neutral. So, like, doing the dishes has always been a blue job. It's 1,000. Colton does the dishes, but unloading the dishwasher and like putting dishes away has always been a pink job. Driving is and forever will be a blue job. I don't drive when we're together in the car. I don't remember the last time I drove. The only time I'm driving is if he's at work and I'm driving myself somewhere. Bills or anything that has an invoice, like any official document that we need to pay in some regard, like rent, electricity, mortgage, insurance, that's all blue. That's all blue. But then every and all admin thing that you could think of, such as like dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, calling to set up with a new doctor if like either one of us has like a specific issue, that's all pink job. Calendar, that's pink job. One pink job that's just the way that we grew up, which is against my will, is technology. I grew up in a family where my dad was 1,000% on top of the technology. Like, my mom doesn't know how to turn on the remote to our TV. So I just always like assumed that technology was a blue job. And unfortunately for me, it's not. It's a pink job in this household. Colton like can't with technology. Lightly organizing, dusting, like that kind of cleaning is a pink job, but deep cleaning, like if we're doing like a deep clean, is a blue job. Like a light like living room or kitchen vacuum is a pink job, but then like the deep clean of the toilets or the shower is a blue job. Picking out all home decor and like furniture is a pink job, but then like actually going to pick it up from like Facebook Marketplace is always a blue job, except for that one time with the chairs. With our dogs, like feeding them is a blue job, but then like giving Scarlett her medications every day is a pink job. This was probably so uninteresting to you, but I always find it like curious. I'm always curious of like how people delegate different responsibilities.
Okay, this stupid driving trend is driving me crazy. No pun intended. Women everywhere are posting and saying my husband never lets me drive anywhere. And to normal people, that would be a red flag. But these women, all of them, and all of the women in the comments are saying like, oh my god, that is so cute. Like, I love that your husband does not let you drive anywhere. Whatever do you mean that your husband is not letting you drive anywhere? Like, especially if you live in the suburbs, you kind of need to drive places, okay? Because everything is so far away from you. The store is 30 minutes away. I live in the suburbs, and the bus stop is 30 minutes away. I gotta get a car ride to get to the bus stop so that I can get other places, right? Because I don't know how to drive, so I have to get a ride to get around. I will say, it's good that she's saying, like, I drive when he's not here, which personally lets me know that they have two cars and that he's not just, like, leaving her trapped, basically. But I can't help but think of the households that cannot afford to have two cars. Is the passenger princess just gonna be stuck at home while her husband is working? Like, can we be for real for once? But then she says, basically, essentially, I have no idea how to pay bills, and my husband has no idea how to set up doctor's appointment, which lets me know that not only are y'all fucked if y'all get divorced, but let's say, for example, if you get sick and it's a pink job to set up doctor's appointments, and let's say, for example, you are so sick that you are bedridden. Let's say you got the flu or you have food poisoning or whatever, and you literally do not have the energy to pick up the phone and call up your doctor and set up a doctor's appointment. Number one, would your husband set up a doctor's appointment on his own? Or would he say, sorry babe, that's a pink job, I don't do that shit. I only do blue jobs. Would he say that? And even if he wanted to, even if he was so inclined to make a doctor's appointment for you and take you to the doctors, would he even know what doctor to take you to? Does he know who your primary care doctor is? Does he know where the urgent care is? Or is he just going to panic and take you to the nearest emergency room, which may or may not take your insurance? Better yet, if you are out of town and your husband gets sick, does he know who his primary care doctor is? This is something that has screwed men over in the divorce process. A ton of men get screwed in the divorce process because they do not know these things. They do not know what their children's primary care doctor is, because the woman takes care of that. That's a woman's job. I don't set up appointments. I'm a man. So I have to ask, what's gonna happen if you need a doctor's appointment set up for yourself and you can't set up your own doctor's appointment because you're so sick? Is your husband gonna do it for you? And is he even gonna know how to do it? Is he gonna know who to call? Does he even know what insurance you guys have? You get what I'm saying? And it's like, these pink and blue jobs are set up to make both partners seem very incompetent. Like, the woman seems very incompetent outside of the household duties, and the man seems very incompetent when it comes to literally everything else. This is not cute. I just want to let you know. But also, like, what's your husband gonna do if you're on vacation? Maybe your husband needs emergency wisdom teeth removal. Does he know where to go? Or is he gonna call you up while you're on vacation and be like, babe, set up a dentist appointment for me, my teeth hurt? Like, you get what I'm saying? This is strange. And I'm not saying that delegating tasks is not okay, because delegating tasks, I mean, that's how you get stuff done, okay? It's a normal thing in relationships. But what I am saying is you have to know how to pay bills. Because this woman said, like, anything to do with, like, paying bills, anything with an invoice, I don't know any of that. What do you mean you don't know how to pay bills? What? You're a full grown adult. What's going to happen if, for example, your husband is away on vacation or away on a work trip or whatever, and the power shuts off because, I don't know, something happened with the payment and you can't. Who are you going to call? Do you even know who sets up your electricity? Do you even know who is your provider for electricity? What are you going to do? Are we for real? And then again, worst case scenario, let's say, God forbid, your husband dies. Well, what are you going to do? You don't know how to pay bills. And this woman in particular strikes me as the kind of woman who got married like straight out of high school because she looks very, very young, okay? And I could be mistaken. I did not go on her profile to check and verify that, but she looks like the kind of, I don't want to insult my neighbors, but she kind of looks like the kind of woman that I encounter very often, where these women, they get married straight out of high school, and so they never got a college degree. But again, I'm filming outside, and I don't want to insult my neighbors, so that's why I'm speaking in such a low tone. That's who she reminds me of. That's kind of who she looks like, okay? And so I worry for her. Like, what if you guys get divorced and you have no idea how to pay bills? And you moved in with your husband immediately after living with your parents, right? You've never had an apartment. You don't know how to pay any kind of bill. What are you gonna do? Like, at this point, do you even have your own savings account? Do you even have your own account? Or is having your own money considered a blue job? Like, come on now. This is both ridiculous and dangerous. You're holding yourself back for the sake of a trend and an aesthetic. But anyway, to wrap this conversation up, because again, my butt is hurting. These conservatism trends are really worrying. So I just want to let you know, please do not give up voluntarily. Give up your rights, your skill set, your life to fit yourself into a trend, to fit yourself into a lifestyle that influencers are saying is desirable. These people have money you don't. These people have the kind of money that you probably will never see ever in your life. And you're over here trying to practice the same kind of lifestyle that these people easily have. These people are not worried about a single thing, okay? Unfortunately, normal, everyday people do not have that luxury to not be worried about anything. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you guys want to watch the after show, I don't think I'm going to have an after show episode for this particular episode because I'm getting really tired. My butt's getting really tired. But if you guys want to watch other after show episodes, go ahead and subscribe to my Patreon. It is $1 a month. And also, oh my god, something that I've been forgetting to say these past few episodes is that I now have blog posts that go up once a week, and it is in the $1 a month tier. So if you guys want to read those blog posts, say, like, for example, you want to support me but you don't really have $5 a month to spare, you can just subscribe for $1 a month, and the blog posts kind of serve as kind of the same thing as the after show, except it's like two different topics, but kind of in the same vein, if that makes sense. You can go ahead and subscribe to the Patreon. Otherwise, I also have merch. Link is in the description and the show notes as well, and all of my social media accounts are also in the description and the show notes, so go ahead and check those out, and I will see you guys in next week's episode. Bye!